Hey guys, welcome back. Tonight we're not staying safe on shore. You're standing on a salt-stained deck somewhere in the Caribbean, 1720, and the man beside you just lost 3 fingers to a cutlass. The ship's surgeon is drunk, the biscuits have weevils, and in about 10 minutes you're going to vote on whether to hang your captain or give him one more chance. Good thing this isn't your life. But before we set sail into this particularly violent chapter of history, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And hey, I'm curious. Drop a comment below with where you're listening from and what time it is where you are. I love seeing how this little community spans the globe. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together.
The deck reeks of tar and unwashed bodies. 40 men crowd around a sea chest turned makeshift table, and you're pressed shoulder to shoulder with a one-eyed Welshman who hasn't bathed since Barbados. Someone's breath smells like rum and rotting teeth. The Caribbean sun hammers down on the planks, making the air shimmer, and you can feel sweat pooling at the small of your back, soaking through the linen shirt you stole from a merchant captain 3 weeks ago. Captain Bartholomew Roberts, Black Bart to those stupid enough to say it to his face, stands at the center. He's tall, dark-skinned, impeccably dressed in a crimson damask waistcoat that seems absurd on a ship where most men wear rags. A gold chain hangs around his neck, with a diamond-studded cross swinging from it. Historians still argue whether Roberts was deeply religious, or just loved the irony of a stolen Catholic treasure glinting in the sunlight. He doesn't smile. He never smiles. "Gentlemen," he says, and the word drips with sarcasm because there's not a gentleman among you. "We are not the Navy. We are not merchants. We sail under our own law." The quartermaster, a grizzled Scotsman named Simpson, unrolls a piece of parchment across the chest. The paper is already stained with dark splotches. Could be wine, could be blood. Nobody's asking. He begins reading in a voice that carries over the creak of rigging and the slap of waves against the hull. Article the 1st. Every man shall have an equal vote in affairs of moment, and equal title to fresh provisions or strong liquors seized, and may use them at pleasure, unless scarcity make it necessary for the common good, that a retrenchment may be voted. You blink. That's not what you expected. You ran away from a tobacco plantation in Virginia, where you were legally classified as property, where the overseer's whip had left scars across your shoulders that still ache when it rains. And now this pirate captain is telling you that you get a vote, that the rum belongs to everyone. The man beside you, the Welshman, leans close. "Democracy, mate," he whispers. "On this ship, the captain commands in battle, but the quartermaster commands everywhere else. And we can vote both of them out if they get ideas." Simpson continues reading. Article the 2nd. Every man shall be called fairly in turn by the list on board of prizes, because over and above their proper share, they are allowed a shift of clothes. But if they defraud the company to the value of even $1 in plate, jewels, or money, they shall be marooned. Marooned. You've heard the stories. A man left on a barren spit of sand with a pistol loaded with a single shot, a flask of water, and the choice of slow death by thirst or quick death by his own hand. The crew doesn't mess around with thieves, which is ironic considering that theft is literally the business model. Article the 3rd. Simpson's voice drops lower, more serious. No person to game at cards or dice for money. Someone in the back laughs. "Lost 3 men to knife fights over cards last year," the Welshman mutters. "Captain's not having it again." The articles continue. No striking another man aboard ship. Take your quarrel to shore, with sword and pistol if you must, like civilized murderers. No keeping boy or woman aboard disguised. Apparently, that caused problems on other ships, though Simpson doesn't elaborate, and nobody asks. Lights out at 8 o'clock. If you want to keep drinking, do it on deck, where someone can stop you from stumbling overboard. Keep your weapons clean and ready at all times. The penalty for cowardice in battle, death. The penalty for desertion, death. The penalty for seducing a woman and bringing her to sea disguised, death. You're starting to notice a pattern. But then Simpson reads Article the 6th, and your attention sharpens. If any man shall lose a limb or become a cripple in the service, he shall have 800 pieces of 8 from the common stock, and for lesser hurts proportionately. 800 pieces of 8. You do the math in your head. That's more money than you'd see in 5 years of legitimate work, if you could find legitimate work, which you can't because you're a runaway with a brand on your shoulder. The compensation varies. 600 pieces for losing an eye, 100 for a finger. It's workers' compensation, a century before factories would even think of such a thing. The captain gets 2 shares of every prize, Simpson says. The quartermaster, sailing master and boatswain get 1 1/2 shares. All other officers get 1 1/4. Every common man gets 1 full share. Any questions? You raise your hand. Your voice comes out rougher than you intended, still thick with the accent of your childhood, before Virginia, before the plantation. Back when you had a name that wasn't just boy or you there. What if the crew doesn't like a decision the captain makes? Roberts himself answers this time, his dark eyes fixing on you. Then you vote. Majority rules on this ship, sailor. I've been captain for 2 years because the men will it. The day they don't, I'll step down, or I'll swim. It's not empty bravado. You know the history now. You'll learn it in the years to come if you survive. In the golden age of piracy, roughly 1650 to 1730, pirate ships operated as floating democracies in an age of absolute monarchs and brutal naval discipline. Royal Navy captains could flog a man to death for minor infractions. Merchant captains pocketed profits while their crews starved on mouldy biscuits. But pirates? Pirates voted. Simpson produces a pot of ink and a quill. Every man makes his mark or signs his name. You're bound to these articles until death or departure by vote of the crew. The line forms. Men shuffle forward, some signing with flourishes, most pressing their thumbs into the ink and leaving dark prints beside their names, or beside an X if they never learned letters. The parchment becomes a constellation of fingerprints, each one a small declaration of independence from the world that failed you. When your turn comes, you feel the weight of it. The quill is surprisingly light in your hand, but the choice is heavy. Sign this, and you're outside the law forever. You'll be hanged if you're caught. No trial, no mercy. The Royal Navy has standing orders. Pirates get the noose. No exceptions. But what did the law ever do for you except chain you and work you until your hands bled? You press your thumb into the ink. It's still warm from the sun. You press it firmly beside your name, your real name, the one you haven't spoken aloud in 3 years, and the mark blooms dark and permanent on the page. Around you, 40 voices roar approval. Someone passes you a cup of rum. It burns going down, cheap and sharp, but it's yours by right now, by vote, by article. The Welshman claps you on the shoulder with his remaining hand. "Welcome to the account, brother," he says, using the pirate term for their criminal partnership. "Now the real work begins." Roberts rolls up the articles and hands them to Simpson for safekeeping. "Gentlemen," he says again, and this time there's something almost like respect in his voice. "We have a Spanish galleon spotted 2 days south. She's heavy with silver from the Potosi mines, sailing fat and slow. We vote now. Do we take her?" 40 hands shoot into the air, yours among them. The deck erupts in shouts and the stamping of feet. Someone fires a pistol into the air in celebration, and the sharp crack makes your ears ring. You can taste gunpowder smoke on your tongue, mixing with salt spray and that ever-present reek of tar. This is your life now. You're a pirate in the Golden Age.
and you just voted for war. The sun is setting now, painting the Caribbean waters in shades of copper and blood. The ship rocks gently beneath your feet, that slow, breathing rhythm of hull against wave that you're already beginning to recognize in your sleep. The articles are locked away in the quartermaster's chest, but you can still feel the ink on your thumb, that dark press of commitment that changed everything. Around you, the crew settles into evening routines. Someone's playing a fiddle on the foredeck, a slow, melancholy tune that speaks of homes left behind and loves forgotten. The smell of cooking drifts up from below. Salt pork and hardtack softened in water. Nothing fancy, but after the plantation, it tastes like freedom. You find a quiet spot near the rail, away from the noise and the gambling that's already started, despite the articles. And you watch the horizon darken from blue to purple, to that deep velvet black where stars begin to pierce through. The Welshman settles beside you, silent for once. He doesn't say anything about the articles or the coming battle. He just passes you his flask, better rum than the common stock, something he's been hoarding. And you both drink and watch the night arrive. Somewhere out there, 2 days south, a Spanish galleon sails heavy with silver, unaware that 40 men have just voted to take everything she carries. But that's tomorrow's story. Tonight, the Caribbean is calm. Tonight, you're not property or chattel, or a nameless body to be worked until it breaks. Tonight, under these articles, you're a man with a vote and a voice, and a share of whatever comes next. The waves whisper against the hull. The stars wheel overhead, ancient and indifferent. And somewhere, deep in your chest, something that's been clenched tight for years, finally, slowly, begins to unfurl. Sleep well, friend. The account awaits.